Today we're digging into a fantastic book on building real wealth, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. And it really all starts with one simple but honestly profound question.
You know, what if I told you that for most of them, it wasn't some hot stock pick or just a lucky break? The authors of this book, they studied hundreds of real estate millionaires, and what they found was wild. They didn't get lucky. No, they followed a repeatable system, and that entire system kicks off with one huge mental shift.
Okay, let's really get into this, because this is the absolute core idea. The book wants you to stop thinking about just making money, which is all about the next transaction, the next paycheck. Instead, it wants you to start thinking about building a money machine. That's a system that spits out cash flow consistently for the long haul. See the difference? It's about building, not just earning.
So, let's unpack that blueprint. We're going to look at real estate investing, but not as just a series of random deals. No, we're going to look at it as the process of actually building a powerful wealth-generating machine right from the ground up.
We'll cover three main parts. First up, how you even fuel this machine. Second, the four-part engine that actually makes it run. And finally, the mindset you absolutely have to operate the whole thing.
All right, first things first. Every machine needs fuel, right? You can't just magically start it up. The book lays out a super clear three-stage path for getting the resources you need just to get in the game.
See, it all starts with your earned income. That's your job. That's the starting line for pretty much everyone. From there, you build up saved capital. And the book makes a really important point here. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. That saved capital, that becomes the fuel that lets you finally buy investment assets. And for this system, real estate is the main vehicle.
And this right here, this highlights the number one mistake people make. The order is non-negotiable. Income, then savings, then assets. You just can't skip steps. Trying to jump right into investing without the fuel, without that saved capital, is exactly why so many people get stuck before they even really begin.
Okay, so we've got our fuel. Now let's look at the engine itself. This isn't about chasing hot markets or getting some lucky tip. This is the repeatable, four-part system that the millionaires in the book actually use to build their fortunes.
So these 4 steps are absolutely crucial. First, you only buy properties that give you positive cash flow from day one. This isn't about hoping the price goes up, it's about income. Second, you use leverage, that's borrowing money to control bigger assets and help you scale. Third, and this is so important, you hold for the long term. And fourth, you scale slowly, deliberately, one property at a time. It's not flashy, I get it, but man, is it powerful.
This is the philosophy at the very heart of the engine. Millionaire investors aren't day trading houses. They're not trying to time the market or chase the latest it neighborhood. They just accumulate quality, cash-flowing properties and let time do all the heavy lifting for them.
So what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's walk through a super simple example of how this machine really builds momentum over time.
It starts small. You buy that first property, and maybe after all the bills are paid, it's making a modest $500 a month in positive cash flow. That's it. That's the machine turning on for the very first time.
But then, you use that disciplined, one-at-a-time approach, and you scale. Let's say you get to 5 properties. Now, that $500 a month has turned into $2,500 a month. You see, the machine's output is growing, and it's predictable. And with 10 properties, you're at $5,000 a month. Now, this is where you really start to see the power of the system. Because while all this cash flow is coming in, there's other magic happening in the background. Rents are slowly going up, your tenants are paying down your mortgages, and the properties themselves are appreciating in value. That is the machine building real, lasting wealth.
But here's the thing. You can have the best, most powerful machine in the world, but it's totally useless without the right person operating it. And that's why the final piece of this whole puzzle, it isn't about numbers or properties. It's all about your mindset. This is the single biggest shift you have to make. You have to stop thinking like an employee who trades their time for money and start thinking like an owner. An owner doesn't just focus on earning. They focus on building and owning the very systems that generate the earnings.
So how do you actually get this mindset? Well, first, you get crystal clear on the difference between assets, things that put money in your pocket, and expenses. Second, you have to practice delayed gratification. You build something first before you spend everything. And finally, you start asking that ownership question about everything in your life. Wait a minute, what if I owned this instead of just using it?
Look, if you remember just one thing from all of this, one core lesson from the Millionaire Real Estate Investor, please let it be this.
True, lasting wealth is not the result of one big deal, or a lucky Drake, or a winning lottery ticket. No,
It is the predictable outcome of consistency, discipline, and time, all applied to a proven system. It's about building the machine, not just sitting around hoping for a windfall.
And that really leads us to the final and most important question. This whole framework, it's not just about real estate, you know? It's a way of thinking about how to create value in the world. So when you look at your own life, your own resources, what machine will you start building today?